Welcome to the Real News Network. I'm Jess Lenore in Baltimore, and welcome to this latest edition of the Black Financial and Fraud Report. We're now joined by Bill Black. He's an associate professor of economics and law at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, white-collar criminologist, former financial regulator, author of The Best Way to Rob a Bank is to Own One, and he's a regular contributor to the Real News. Thank you so much for joining us again, Bill.
It's good to be back.
So, Bill, what do you got for us this week?
We've got von Hayek, the patron saint of the plutocrats and libertarians, in what libertarians broadly consider the absolute best thing he's ever written, Why the Worst End Up on Top. And this is chapter 10 of The Road to Serfdom. And I decided to look at his theory of why democratic government always is going to lead to tyranny and the mass murder of the citizens of the state and, prison complexes and such. And he says there are three reasons why the absolute worst folks will always prevail in a democracy. First, the core group that they're going to appeal to is the stupid people and the uneducated people. Second, they're going to broaden that base of support by having propaganda campaigns that are able to convince the gullible to join them. And third, they'll then have a campaign of hate to bring in the haters. And the haters will be those folks who are envious of rich people who are more productive and have greater income, but they'll also be haters of minorities and such. And he says because only the most unscrupulous politicians would be willing to put together this kind of troika of totalitarianism, it's always the worst people that'll come to the top in the political process. And of course, he's writing this in something published, The Road to Serfdom, in 1944. And he gets the Nobel Prize in 1974 in economics, of all things, for this prediction, which of course proved absolutely wrong in every single case. And it's 40 years since his Nobel Prize this year. And of course, it's proven to be true in absolutely no of the democratic nations of Western Europe and the United States and Canada, which is what he was writing about and predicting that they were all going to become these kind of police states. And if you think of his theory, the thing that the liberal types, as we use the phrase in America, progressives, or what he would have called socialists and such, then socialists and progressives should have been fighting to make sure that people weren't educated. But who really fought against public education? Well, that would have been the conservatives who fought against the land-grant colleges that transformed America. Well, that would be the conservatives and the South and such. And by the way, who actually goes disproportionately to the polls and votes? Well, that would be people with higher levels of education. So economics is the only field in which you can be completely, absolutely wrong and get a Nobel Prize for being completely, absolutely wrong and refusing to admit that you're absolutely, completely wrong.
Thanks so much for joining us, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Real News Network.